Hey guys, my name is Björkson from TSM, and this is my basic champions guide to Yasuo. I think solo queue Yasuo is actually very good because Yasuo has a pretty weak point after his first phase in the laning phase where the enemy mid laner gets blue, but you're still trying to stack up and get static shiv. But at this point in solo queue, you often don't get abuse and you often get to still farm and get static shiv. Also, Yasuo does have a very strong level 1 to 5 laning phase, and you can often get a kill or a big lead in this point in solo queue because people don't really know his power and how strong his trades are. Yasuo is a very situational champion though. You don't want to be early picking him or picking him every single game. He is very matchup dependent, and make sure you're not picking him into a ton of CC that you're unable to block with Wind Wall. In most matchup, Yasuo has the advantage in the early game, especially with the boot start, so you want to be looking for trades pretty much throughout the laning phase from level 1 to 5 and just constantly wind them down. Yasuo has one of the strongest early game laning phases, and you want to be taking advantage of that. After your first base, it's very hard to still be dominant in lane. Even if you have a lead, you need to make sure that you know how strong you are and how strong the enemy are. Usually after the first phase, Yasuo loses pressure and becomes more farm-oriented until static shiv, but Wraith camps help you a lot with that. So just know your power spike and know when you can play aggressive, but generally early and once you get static shiv are your big power spikes where you can play aggressive in lane. For team fighting with Yasuo, there's really two ways you can play him. One way is if they have a squishy backline and you have some sort of initiate onto them that you can follow up on, say like a Maokai Q, a Nautilus Assault, or an All-Star combo, and you can one-shot the backline. If you go in on one of their backline champions and you're unable to kill them, it's going to be really bad for you because you're very squishy and their carry is still going to be alive. Generally, how I end up playing team fights is I am with my team and doing as much damage to just the nearest targets as possible and constantly getting my tornado and throwing it out and then waiting for the right chance to go in. You can go in on your own tornado that you're stacking up on their front line or minions, or you can go in on one of your teammates getting a knockup. But I feel like Yasuo should be played more as a constant damage dealer and then a huge burst and blocking up their backline rather than always trying to assassinate, because always trying to assassinate is not going to work. Something every great Yasuo player needs to know is how you can jump the jungle camps. You can jump over the grump wall, over the wraith wall. It's going to let you be a lot more mobile, and you can use your wards over jungle camps to jump over and escape. It makes Yasuo very hard to find the jungle since you can always move around and jump over walls. The most common ways for Yasuo to get a kill or start a team fight is usually getting 3 stacks and getting your tornado ready, and then doing the flash EQ. It's very unexpected and you close a lot of distance and you instantly get the knockup into the ulti. For runes on Yasuo, I like to go 8 attack speed reds, 1 crit, HP scaling yellows, and flat MR blues, as well as lifesteal quints. The attack speed from reds allows you to get the max amount of attack speed needed for your Q to get the lowest cooldown by getting either Static Shiv and Berserker Screeves or Static Shiv and Blade of the Ruined King. And this means that if there's a game where they don't have a lot of hard CC, you can get Shiv and Berserkers, you can go straight into IE without losing out on the attack speed on your Q. Also, it helps with early laning phase and pushing. Lifesteal Quints is because at a point, Yasuo's laning phase is very weak and you mainly want to be sustaining and looking to get Static Shiv, and Lifesteal Runes help a lot with that. HP per level and MR is very self-explanatory. On Yasuo, I run 2190. It's very straightforward, just getting attack speed, of course, and Frenzy. Frenzy is very, very important because Yasuo is constantly critting, so getting the extra attack speed from Frenzy is super, super important. Also, 9 defense helps with his very weak early game, and having the extra strength and health helps a lot. For most matchups, you want to be going E at level 1, Q at level 2, and either E or W at level 3. For maxing, I like to max E into Q into W. After the Q change, where Q has a static cooldown on all levels, I feel like E is just better overall since it allows you to trade and jump a lot more on minions, which makes you a lot more slippery and hard to gank. And your Q has the same cooldown, and the only thing going up is damage, so I like to max E first and then Q second because you still want that damage for later in the game. For the item build, I generally like to start with boots on Yasuo, since when you're maxing E, you're going to be really, really slippery, and with the extra movement speed, it makes your E faster. It just allows you to trade. You have a lot of potions to continuously trade with people that have Dorans and 2-pots. You'll be winning out eventually. After boots, I try to get Static Shiv as soon as possible. If you're having a really hard laning phase, you can go for 1 or 2 Dorans to make up for it, but Static Shiv is really your next goal. After this, depending on their comps, I either get Merc Treads or Zerker Screeves. If I get Merc Treads, I'm going to go into Blade of the Ruined King because I need to make up for the attack speed that I'm missing. If I go Zerker Screeves, I like to go straight into IE because I already have the attack speed I need and it gives me the max amount of damage. If I'm going the IE path, I will go BT into a defensive item, and if I have the Blade of the Ruined King path, I'll go IE into a defensive item. Generally, your offensive item is going to be something like Randuin's, Quicksilver Sash, or GA, depending on the game. Hey guys, thanks for watching this basic champions guide to Yasuo. If you want to check out more content, go to lolclass.com.